Hi, everyone, and welcome. I think we can kick off this session. I will introduce you to Tristan van Thiele, who is our head of Google Cloud Machine Learning, and he will be the host of this session. So I let you introduce the speakers, Tristan.
Yes, thank you, Laura. Hi, everyone. So as Laura mentioned, I've been working in GCP for 5 years now, and had the pleasure of working together with the people in this panel as well. So I would like the speakers, I'll go through you one by one to just quickly introduce the company you're from, your role, and how you've been experiencing AI so far. So Alvaro, I will keep you last because you're a little bit of an exception, and I'll start with Manuel first.
Hi, I'm Manuel. I'm employed as a machine learning engineer at Lampenlicht, also known as Lampenlight. My experience with AI has been pretty hectic the last year, especially with the coming of LLMs. But before that, I was more involved in the traditional machine learning models. So I hope that I will be able to share some of my insights that I got from the last year.
Thanks, Manuel. And then we move on to Olivier.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Olivier. I'm the Chief Experience Officer at Cegid, a French SaaS company providing different type of solutions in the area of accounting, talent management, finance, payroll, retail, and so on. I'm covering customer experience, but also learning and customer support. And we have introduced this year a GenAI virtual agent for our customer. We are launching next week our GenAI Assist for our technicians, and we'll talk later of other use cases.
All right, thank you, Olivier. And then we have Evelyn.
Hello, my name is Evelyn Peres-Reed. I am the business analyst for Google Workspace at Strawberry. Strawberry is a Scandinavian hotel company. So we have 240 hotels and restaurants and spa departments, conferences. We have the National Arena in Sweden. So before my role as business analyst, I worked with opening the new hotel. So building infrastructure from scratch and training end users is my background before that.
All right, thank you, Evelyn. And then we have Alvaro.
Thank you, Tristan. Good morning, everyone. I'm an AI specialist with Google, specifically within Google Cloud. And my role is to work with our customers and our partners to better translate what we can offer in terms of our AI portfolio to meaningful investments and products within the AI space. Great to be with you all today.
All right, thanks. So the goal of today's panel is to go through together with Evelyn, Olivier, and Manuel to get a bit of their experience implementing solutions on Google Cloud, and then together with Alvaro also giving a view on what Google's strategy and viewpoint is in that domain. So I'll be mainly hosting. If you have any questions, like Laura already put in the chat, please just type them in the chat. We'll have some time for questions after the fact. And in terms of topics we'll be covering, we'll be going through the challenges that have been faced by the different people in the call, what they did to resolve them, what the eventual impact ended up being, and then looking into what they see as future things they still need to work on and lessons learned that you might be able to take away if you start your own AI implementations. Good. So we'll go back through all the speakers again, but this time the goal is to get an idea of what the challenges were that led you to think, okay, maybe AI or GenAI can actually help us solve this issue for us. I'll go in the reverse order. So maybe Evelyn, you can go first.
Absolutely. So our challenge was that we had a lot of legacy when it comes to the check-in and check-out systems. It's called a property management system. And we also have our POS systems. There was a lot of legacy, and we did a massive rollout this year and a little bit of last year where we changed all of these applications to newer modern ones. And with hospitality having a generally high turnover, we have 20,000 employees. training and finding new procedures on how to do things became quite a challenge. So that is where we looked into how could AI help us, and we didn't want to start from scratch. So what we did was look into what we already had and how to use AI to make that better. Yeah.
All right, very interesting. I know we'll deep dive a bit later into the specifics. So let's move on to Olivier for now.
Thank you, Tristan. Well, at Cegid, we are serving 750,000 customers with 88 different solutions, niche solutions with 100 customers, up to volume solutions with more than 10,000 customers. So a huge diversity of requests, mainly in terms of product usage. We have almost 500,000 tickets created each year, and 40% of those tickets are related to product usage. So obviously, we saw GenAI as an opportunity to reduce these volumes of tickets, but above all, enhance the customer experience, providing a 24 hours, 7 days a week support, faster, quicker. So the challenges was to move from I'm calling the support to get support to I'm using self-service and GenAI to get an answer to my questions.
All right, that sounds like a very impactful use case. And then we have Manuel.
Thank you, Tristan. Our use case was more focused on scaling what we already had. We have a relatively small marketing and procurement team. However, we serve all across of Europe using different kinds of technologies. For example, we have 39 web shops that are split by language. And since we have 3 or 4 content marketeers while having a relatively small procurement team, we ran into scaling challenges. GenAI for us was the solution for scaling at least the marketing content. And we're currently busy with implementing a procurement AI that helps our procurement team doing the research, product ideation, and also the whole procurement process.
Can you maybe go a bit deeper into how your marketing team is getting enabled by these GenAI tools?
Yeah, sure. So I believe it was during June of this year, we came in contact with the Dev team and we started a brainstorm session on how we can actually tackle some of the challenges that we had with the marketing team. One of those was that we produce marketing content on a relatively small scale, but we are serving the whole European market with the same type of content. This, of course, leads to some localization issues, especially since we do not have the specialists when it comes to certain local markets or the languages. We use the GenAI solution from Google, basically based on Gemini, and we build a whole framework where our marketing team was allowed to create their own content that was, first of all, in tone of voice, had learned from past interactions from our e-commerce stores. So we put in metrics to our content, so we were able to learn from past performance. And we use this kind of scaling methodology to produce new content, which is also going into the site. So the issue you solve with this specific case is that you're able to scale content, able to reduce costs when it comes to translations. And of course, you have content that is more in line with your whole branding strategy.
No, I think that's a great way of giving more of your customers access to information in their own language. Yeah. Cool. Then maybe Evelyn, from your side, so you've mentioned that the big struggle was all these new systems that people need to get ramped up on. Can you go a bit more into detail on how you are using AI to help your employees with that journey?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we started looking into was how can we use what we already have. So we're obviously a Google Workspace company. We have a lot of documentation, and something that works really well is Google Sites. So Google Sites was our one-stop shop where all the information was. And we started by just a usual, as probably everyone starts, you take a big set of data, you chunk it in a bucket, and then we started experimenting with the Dialogflow CX. But we noticed quite quickly that we have to maintain the data in the bucket. It wasn't so future-proof, and it wasn't that scalable either. So that's actually when we approached Devo team and asked, all right, this is our idea. This is the problem that needs solving. Can we perhaps build a site scraper? So that's kind of where it started as the front end is this Google site that's being updated by the subject matter experts. And then you have the end user on the other side getting the data. But the second part where you could get this is within Google Chat. So that's how it became a bit more circular in the infrastructure. And we also wanted to make it even more flexible. So we actually left Dialogflow CX and went for LangChain and function calling. And I actually do mean to brag. I do believe that we were the first in the world to use function calling in a certain way globally. So that was kind of fun. So that was where it all started, and it just grew from there.
Cool. Yeah, I think Strawberry was one of the very early adopters of Gemini's function calling, indeed. So that was a very interesting challenge to go through together with them. Cool. And then Olivier, from your side, so you have that entire support team having to handle that large volume of tickets. Can you explain a bit more how AI specifically helps solve those challenges?
Well, in fact, it's, I would say, a common use case using a virtual agent for customer care support. You were talking of challenges, and I think that the key challenge for us was, I would say, the mindset. Obviously, we had some challenges in terms of technology, connecting Dialogflow to our CRM, to our ticketing systems, training the model. But I'm insisting on the mindset, and the team needed to understand that we were not buying traditional techno such as a ticketing system. You are buying GenAI capabilities that need to be built, trained, piloted, tested, and continuously improved. And I'm insisting again on the mindset because I would say in terms of technology, everything is almost possible. It's more about a kind of spirit of openness, will to continuously improve. I remember, for instance, we started to train the model on our top 137 questions. So we knew the answers, and step by step, we reached 85% of correct answers. And this was, for us, a great achievement. Then we downloaded the 5,000 questions really asked this time by our customer over a certain period, and we dropped to 19% of correct answered. So we were not desperate, so you need to stay calm and in fact focus on the velocity on which you're going to improve the correctness on the answer. A week after, we reached 50% of correct answer. 2 weeks after, we were back to our 85% of correct answer. So I would say that the key challenge is to drive the project team, drive the customer support team to focus on this continuous improvement, to really understand what questions are asked, how the GenAI agent is interacting with these questions, the type of prompt, and mainly continuously improve, in this case, your knowledge base. I think it was great. And of course, the challenges, another challenges was to manage expectations. This is not magical. It took 5 months from a white page up to getting our agent live, which is, I think, a very short time. But it's not magical. You are not going to reach a stronger quality of answer without working on the improvement. You are not going to have a stronger adoption rate the day you're going to launch it. Mindset, that's really for me the key word.
I think that's a great answer, and it's also something I want to highlight, is that setting the expectation of we will be 100% accurate is not realistic even with today's technology. So indeed, making people aware of that, bring them along on the journey, and help, and bring the message as, hey, we are building something together, we need your help to improve, is often a very good way to spin things. Because you will notice that even in what you think is your highest quality data, there will be some issues. I know often when we get to a place where we say, okay, the solution is working well, a customer might still come back and say, hey, it's giving some wrong output, that then turns out to somewhere be actually something that is even currently still on the live web page. Right? So you will encounter those things. Take that into account and set expectations correctly, I think, is indeed a very important message. Cool. Then let's switch perspective a little bit and go back to the basics, as it were, and talk a little bit more about how you need to make sure to set your foundations right, because you are still incurring a risk, let's say, by exposing these applications. And maybe, Alvaro, I'd like maybe first to get your view from the Google side of things on how Google thinks the foundation layer should be done, and what Google is doing to enable customers in that area.
Yeah, happy to. Thank you, Tristan. So perhaps I'd like to start out by sharing, that Google is a company that wants to enable our customers to be able to solve problems with technology, but likewise, they're problems that we have to solve ourselves, right? So we build AI-powered products such as search. Likewise, we're advancing research. We have DeepMind to support different areas like healthcare, or for instance, there are teams building Gemini models as well. So we internally at Google, we have a lot of initiatives, and therefore what we recommend to our customers and the technology that we give to our customers, we're accountable for them being successful within Google as well. But in terms of setting up foundations correctly, like very simply put, we tell our customers to think along 3 dimensions: people, process, and technology. And usually customers come to us for the technology part. For people and process, and by people and process, I mean on the people side, having the right talent, the right sets of skills, the culture to be able to build with AI. And by process, I mean shaping processes to be more AI-driven, reformulating, disrupting where necessary. Here we give our customers, or share with our customers, how we like to do things internally at Google, how we like to think about products, how we, for instance, use methodologies like the design sprint to build products, test them quickly, but fail them if needed. But to answer your question on the more technology side, we believe for AI that a strong data foundation is needed. And it's true that with generative AI, the need for that foundation has relaxed a tiny bit. Like, for instance, things like having a very curated training data set is no longer a must-have with models that work out of the box, such as Gemini. Likewise, with a stronger bias for unstructured data, you don't need to do all the data modeling, warehousing, semantic layers that you need on top of your data as you do with structured. Nonetheless, the data foundations requirement is still there, and it's needed to have a performance solution. There are also foundations to be considered around security, and we give our customers a lot of controls and assurances, controls to be able to control your own security, but assurances, for instance, that we never use your data to train our models, for instance. And likewise, there's a lot of tooling that we share in terms of being able to build robust applications within generative AI. And this includes things like features to evaluate your models, to monitor them, to provide transparency. And perhaps I want to touch a bit upon regulation as well, Tristan, but is that something that we want to cover now, or should we cover that a bit later?
Yeah, we can go into that now. I think that's a very interesting topic for many people here in the call.
Fantastic. So a lot of our customers come to us because they want to meet certain regulations, for instance, say GDPR or others. And ultimately, our customers are accountable for meeting those regulations, but we want to do everything we can to give them the right tools to be able to do that. So things like providing assurances on data location requirements. So this is both data at rest and in transit. So for instance, we're increasing our support to be able to process data not only within the EU. So for instance, for Gemini models, we can now tell our customers that you can lock in processing to only happen within the EU, which is important for regulations such as GDPR, but we're increasing our offering to be able to do processing only within the UK as well. And we have a set of different security features like a security command center, cloud audit logs. We have data loss prevention tools that can help you identify and anonymize PII data, etc. And this is a super broad topic, so I could go on for ages, but the main point is that we have a broad set of tools and also contractual assurances to enable our customers to meet the requirements and compliance around regulation.
Right, thanks. So as Alvaro explained, there's a very broad suite of tools available on Google Cloud, and it's very much a challenge of how do we take those tools and apply them to our organization and fit with the regulations that are applicable to us and how we want to treat our Google Cloud environment. So maybe I'd like to get a view from maybe first Manuel on how you took that step of saying, okay, we need a proper foundations for these different use cases, first for our marketing team, then for procurement, and how you tweak that to be something that fits in the Lampenlicht organization.
Yeah, so when you talk foundation, you talk about the technical or the cultural foundation that you need?
Let's first do the technical side, so we stay linked to Alvaro, but I'm very interested in the cultural side as well.
Yeah, so from a technical perspective, we had a pretty good position, mainly because we did a massive switch to Google Cloud from the on-premise solution that we had in the past. So we basically had a carte blanche on how we wanted to tackle these problems. So what we first did is we sat down with the marketing team and the procurement team to really ensure that we crystallize the process that they will be using either now or in the future. So what I mean by that is that we had to look at, all right, what are the metrics that you currently look at? What are the kind of process that you're currently doing for the content productions? That allowed us to basically make a data pipeline that reflected that specific workflow. Because at the end of the day, the things you're building needs to be either, it needs to add value to the current working method. Don't get me wrong, the workflow is not always optimal, so you need to tweak here and there, but the tool that you build needs to be adopted. So once you sit down with your teams and you gather the requirements, then you actually take them into the journey on how to actually build these kinds of things and have them fully aware on, all right, this process, we're going to be building the data, then we have to be building the agents, then we're going to building the orchestrator. And if you take them along with a specific technical part of the journey, you get way more buy-in and also way more usage. When it comes to Google Cloud specifically, it allows you to have a pretty good interface that end users can use without having too much technical knowledge. For example, if you need like a control environment where they can play with the model, that's also possible within Google Cloud. And those small steps from technical foundations allowed us to both scale all the projects that we had, gather the funding that we needed from upper management, and also having pretty good adoption rate.
All right, that's very interesting. Maybe I'd like to ask the same question to Evelyn. So how did you go about setting the foundations for the project that's currently ongoing?
Yeah, so it's actually quite funny to hear Alvaro speak as well, because it is so important with compliance, and that's actually how our AI project started. It started as a GDPR discussion. So this was almost exactly a year ago now. So it was still very much, where is the data? Where is it being processed? Are we training the model? These things were still very new. So when we literally found the correct drop-down, speaking to the correct people, we just kickstarted and knew that everything is within our secure environment. And then we knew that when we went from Dialogflow CX over to function calling and LangChain, that we also wanted to connect way more tools. So what we did was we also connected certain collections in the Google Drive. So that's also very future-proof. You update the document, it updates in the AI. Something else that we did was like every department within a hotel and within headquarters is almost like its own little ecosystem. Like hotels never close, it's 24/7. So to get answers on the questions that you might have to wait for the morning shift to arrive, you can just ask Scout. So everything from the sales team to human resources to procurement, translating text, those could you say usual use cases, of course, also being managed by Gemini in the foundations. But something that's been just very interesting is to see what else we can connect to it. We're connecting the service and support ticketing system. So you can also, if you don't get answers to your questions, you can actually create a ticket straight in the Google Chat user interface. We also have a connection to Slack. So doing that fast pivot way back when we went for LangChain and function calling made a very flexible product in the end. And also users are familiar in the Google Chat interface, and something that we can see makes a difference is that we've also tweaked the tone of voice of our agent Scout to be a little bit sassy. So it's not just a random chat bot, it actually lives and breathes the Strawberry culture, which is quite like our theme words are energy, courage, and enthusiasm. So it's also reflected in the way that Scout phrases things and how it helps you and things like that. So we can also see that that helps adoption when you actually have a fun experience interacting with these agents. So yeah.
All right, thanks. I again think that highlights a very important topic, right? Meeting users where they're at. Often we see companies that say, okay, well, let's just have an external website where you can do whatever you want to do. And I think often that's a bit challenging. That's an extra step that users need to make, which is not that good if you want to encourage adoption. I think you also see that with Google, right? There's gemini.google.com, which you get if you, as a business, you buy Gemini for Workspace, but at the same time, it's integrated in Google Docs, Gmail, and everywhere where we want it, right there available. So I think that definitely helps quite a lot. Good, then maybe a question for Olivier. What were the challenges that you encountered while implementing the project? So things that didn't maybe go exactly as planned from the start.
Well, at the beginning, we were wondering whether we will go for a buy approach or a build approach. When I say a buy, again, the mindset was really about, okay, let's buy this techno as it was a ticketing or any other solutions, or a build. We do it on our own. We need to be extremely hands-on with this technology. We did a pilot where we tested these two approach, 3 months with one solution and another solutions. I would say that it was a loss of time. At least we learned that there's no pilot with Gen AI. You need to go for a build approach right from the start. Because in 3 months you cannot really say, okay, it's working and it's not working. Again, it's really about it's a continuous improvement processes. But at least we discovered this. Then in terms of challenges, Alvaro said it. I think the very first thing is to ensure that you have a good data quality. That's why we started with the solutions where we had the best knowledge base. 88 solutions. For us, it's 88 different knowledge base, articles, FAQ, and so on. And really to start with a good success, we started with the best knowledge base. Then I would say in terms of technology, it's not that difficult. Obviously, we needed to connect Dialogflow to our CRM, to Salesforce, then to our ticketing system using ServiceNow. I would say it's classic. Training the model takes a while. But again, we started with a very systemic approach, top questions. We checked the answer why is it not answering the right answer, how to improve the model, and so on. But tracking, again, it's how you manage expectation. If you understand that it's a journey, of course, it's not going to take you years, but weeks and maybe months to improve. It's okay. What matter, I'm going back to the mindset, is this continuous improvement approach. And understanding, okay, what need to be done to improve the quality of answer. Then I would say as soon as you have your model up and running, it's just a matter of creativity. How do you want to personalize the prompt? How do you want to improve the user interface? Do we need to develop the answer based on the customer profile? Is a beginner, I'm going to be smarter in answering, or is an expert, I'm going to provide him with more information. I would say it's endless, and that's what is really interesting.
Yeah, I think that the iterative nature of what you've described is really something that a lot of people recognize in their projects, probably. These are really systems you can keep on improving and improving. And I think also the interactions that users of the application might not always be what you expect. And I think actually, Evelyn, you might have some funny examples of what people inside of Strawberry are doing with Scout.
Yes.
If I may, Tristan, sorry, if I may, in terms of, you were talking of the users, we've launched the virtual agent a month ago. And our users used to use a knowledge base with a search tool. And the challenge is that our customer need to understand that the GenAI agent is not a search tool. It's really about the conversation. The first user was just entering a keyword in the agent, expecting some answer. Now it's about a conversation. It's about an interactions. And clearly the challenge at the moment is to support and develop the customer mindset once again. Really, so how do we support the customer in doing a prompt? The customer need also to understand that it's not the public Gemini, it's just the virtual agent from Cegid. So it's not yet as fun, as precise, as documented as you can have on Gemini publicly. It's another really interesting challenge. How do you support the adoption rate? How do you understand that if you enter into the prompt, I have a problem, do not expect to have the answer, except can you please specify what your problem is? It's really about change management now.
Yeah, and I think that's also a good angle is as a company, you might sometimes also want to restrict what your chatbot can do. You don't want people to start writing their thesis with the chatbot that you have on your website. So that's something that's called guardrails. I think all the people here in the call know that quite well and have some experience with that. Yeah, I think Evelyn, as mentioned, you have something that actually you like, that freedom that goes together a bit with the SaaS of Scout as well. So can you just share some fun examples?
Yeah, of course. And I completely agree with what Olivier said as well with the prompting correctly. That is something that we try to nudge people to use natural language and not just write a one-word sentence that you wouldn't converse with someone in that way. So it's helping the user do the right thing. And something that's been very fun to see is how creative people are, and it's definitely part of our culture that we're outgoing, we work in hospitality, everyone wants to be helpful in things, and we've also of course added a satisfaction score. People can give a thumbs up or thumbs down to a response, and they can give us feedback and things like that. But the unexpected things that have reached our ears is when people write rap songs, or when they write poems, and just kind of sew this into the culture that they have within each teams. And there are multiple of these examples, but it's just seeing how it actually enhances creativity when you know how to do these prompts correctly. So that's been very fun to see how they have a spin on the company culture and use Scout's sassiness in the best possible way when it comes to creativity such as that.
I think those examples are also pretty good to encourage the adoption again. Having people have fun with the tool and sharing it a little bit, like, look what I did with it, can be quite fun. I think that's also part of what initially made GenAI go quite viral, is people sharing it everywhere. So if you do that internally, I think you can definitely leverage the same thing. So restrict what people can do, but if it's internal and you want to allow that, think also about, okay, what are fun ways that people might be able to use this instead. Cool. Then maybe I'd like to go over to the impact that these projects had. Again, quick reminder, if you have any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat, then we can save some time at the end for answering them. But for now, I'll go over to Manuel. So how has the project that you've implemented actually impacted the team? You mentioned that they were quite resource constrained. So is that something that's now going better? And how has that been experienced?
Yeah, we're seeing impact on two different fronts. So from the company-facing side, we mostly see that we produce more content with the same team. So in generic terms, that means we save a lot of time. Also, our cost when it comes to translations has basically gone to almost zero, because the token cost of Gemini is relatively low, especially if you use the optimized way that you can build it using LangGraph or LangChain. So besides saving time, we also see more involvement when it comes to more strategic questions that the company has. So before, everyone was just producing content. It was a content machine. Now you're actually seeing people really think about strategy and tactics instead of just churning out content based on a list from the requirements that upper management is giving. So you see a lot of more involvement, specifically from your content marketing team. When it comes to customer facing, we're actually seeing two things. First of all, we're seeing for content that's AI generated, we're seeing improved metrics, specifically when it comes to engagement, when it comes to add to carts, when it comes to emails. The click-through rate is up, specifically on AI generated mails. We do tend to A/B test them to ensure that we're not breaking something. And one fun thing is that we actually launched a few AI generated products a couple of weeks ago. Maybe it's due to Black Friday and all the Black months that we're seeing, but those products are doing relatively well. So that's pretty fun to see that your products are actually being used. That's really cool. But also having a customer facing impact and also impacts revenue.
All right. Yeah, I think again that's a great point. Is the far-going customization, personalization you can do with GenAI to really target specific users. Why is this product good for you, and have that in a written form? I think that's really a power that a lot of companies are still needing to leverage. And it's kind of the next step in personalization, going from, okay, let's just see which customers may be interested in which product and send them all the same mail. Going even further than that can really even more drastically improve the results.
Yep, and the good part about it is, as you stated, you have a personalized email for everyone, so you get really relevant content. The issue we're facing with that, though, is the operation side of things. So the monitoring. How do you get like an email that's being AI generated from a content management system? For example, are we ensuring that the content that goes out is actually the correct content that was supposed to go to that specific person? So that's one of the challenges we are currently facing at the current time. So,
all right, cool, thanks. And then maybe on the more operations side of things, so I'll go back to Olivier. So how do you see that the use case that you've worked on has affected the efficiency of that operations and support team? And if you have any specific results that you can highlight, that would be excellent.
Yeah, well, obviously it works. I mean, it's simple to say that, but when I say it works, I mean the quality of answer is okay, and is is correct. So it's a little bit early to talk about the impact. We launched our virtual agents a month ago. We are launching the Agent Assist next week. In terms of the virtual agents, we are seeing a continuous improving adoption rate. As I told you before, our customers are used to work with a search tool. We have call, as we still have a low volume of interaction at the moment. We are calling back each customer that said that they were not satisfied with the interaction to understand why. In many cases, they are not satisfied because they are not really at ease when it comes to do a prompt. So they would like more guidance on prompting because, as I told you, they are used to work with keywords. The interface also is extremely important. We used to have a chatbot, and again, they need to understand this is not a chatbot. So we have some area of improvement in the user improvement, but for sure we are tracking every day the number of questions, the number of conversations, the number of tickets that are created through the virtual agents, how many tickets are created versus the one that are not using the virtual agents. And obviously, we are seeing for the moment a drop in terms of ticket creations. So at the moment, we have a very, very positive feedback. So at the moment, it's a green light. But again, as it's all about continuous improvement, I'm seeing a lot of opportunities. How do we embark the virtual agents directly into our solutions to propose a seamless customer experience? At the moment, you are working on the solutions. Then you have to go on the customer portal to interact with the virtual agents. Again, we really want to offer a more consistent experience. I have many ideas to improve the way we are working. And next week, when we will launch the Agent Assist, obviously we are expecting an improvement in terms of productivity, in terms of quality of answer. It's very exciting.
Okay. Yeah, actually, funny story. I had to call my bank yesterday, and to me, I really had to go the other way. I'm so used now to being able to, in natural language, ask questions, that they asked me in 3 keywords, describe your problem. And I was just like, oh man, that's really something from another age. So I think, at least from my perspective, that's definitely going in the right direction. Cool. Then maybe Evelyn, from your side. Alvaro, you had something you wanted to pitch in there?
Yeah, maybe just wanted to emphasize like some of the impact that we're seeing across our customers, and I think the customer experience, customer care type of use cases are driving a lot of impact already. And we're seeing, if we look at kind of the percentage of chats that virtual agents or fully kind of AI-powered agents can handle without having to escalate to a human, we're seeing super strong numbers, like from 40 to even a high 60% of chats that the AI agent can handle on its own. And a customer is happy to have that interaction and get the information it needs or carry out the actions that the customer needs just with the AI agent. So that's very positive numbers from an efficiency side, but also customer satisfaction side.
All right. Yeah, I echo that statement. That's also something that with other customers, indeed, we see that those use cases are really quick wins in terms of topics to tackle. Because then maybe Evelyn, from your side, it's a bit more internal there, but any metrics or visible improvements that you can share since people started using Scout?
Yeah, for sure. So Scout gained a lot of attention we were actually honored enough to open up the keynote for the Google Cloud Summit for the Nordics in Stockholm. So our Senior Vice President Karianne was on stage talking about employee agents and how it has just improved. You spend less time looking for things. We get fewer support tickets already, but we want to have a little bit longer period of time to actually quantify that data even better. But what's been extremely interesting for us is that we have branched out from no longer only being a employee agent. We duplicated Scout's infrastructure and also created not one but two customer agents. So we have our standard hotel brands, Clarion, Quality, Comforts, but we also have our independent hotels, and they have their own web pages. So we used the infrastructure that we already had with Scouts, used the web scraping, but their external website, and we also implemented the Google Drive API. So if you visit a hotel, certain information is available on the site, opening hours for the spa, do you have parking, et cetera, et cetera. But there could be other things that a guest is wondering when they're checking into a hotel. I have an electric car. What kind of chargers work? How do I pay? Do I need an app? All sorts of things. And to have these three agents, now we have the employee Scout and two external Scouts, one hotel in Stockholm called At6 and a Norwegian one called Amerikalinjen. And to have service being provided with 24/7 in 170 languages is rather interesting. During the pilot, we had an employee speaking Japanese testing out, and she was very surprised and very, very excited that indeed she just got the check-in and check-out hours in Japanese. So that is something that we're very excited about, that you no longer have to call the hotel or email the hotel for these questions. You just need to go to the webpage, and then you have all of the information there. And with the in-house documentation that the hotel has, it's also very future-proof. So if something changes, you have the Christmas season coming up. What Christmas packages do you have? Well, update it on the in-house document or the webpage, and voila, then the agent is updated. So that is something that has been very exciting, and just to basically duplicate existing infrastructure saves you a lot of resources. And also connecting to what Manuel said about how many resources you are on a project. I can count on one hand how many we are in the Scout project. Very, very few people, and it has its pros and cons. But in the beginning, it also enables you to run very quickly and fail fast if needed. So completely agree with Manuel that there resources sometimes can be an issue, but pros and cons with both.
All right, thanks. Then we're nearing the end of the webinar. I'd like maybe to end with a look into the future. Before that, a quick reminder that if you have any questions, please feel free to type them into the chat. I'd like to hear from the speakers what they see their next steps in their AI journey be, as well as a lesson learned that you have for the people that have joined the webinar. But I'd maybe like to start first with Alvaro on Google's vision moving forward into 2025. What are the things that from a Google point of view are very important to keep in mind for organizations going forward?
Yeah, quite a few things, I would say. So the streams that I mentioned at the beginning of the call, like we want to continue to enable our customers. So in our roadmap, we have a lot of features to be able to do that, like we're building on Gemini, making it more powerful, improving multimodal side of it, the vision, image processing and generation. Likewise, more MLOps type of features to enable things like evaluation, monitoring, explainability, citations. So those are all things that will continuously improve. For instance, a product that is in the roadmap for us as well, and right now it's in preview, is a feature called Model Armor, which is like guardrails for large language models, but that will enable you to do many of the things that we've discussed in this webinar. Things like keeping responses relevant, keeping them reliable, make sure that they don't say anything harmful. So that will be a feature that we give to our customers out of the box. So plenty coming in that space. But internally within Google, continuing to advance AI research, and that's clearly a priority for us, and we're continuing to put resources towards that. But likewise, one area that we're working a lot in is driving to use AI internally within our own processes. So things like automating RFP responses, or kind of enhancing any sort of process around finance, software development, etc. So that as an organization, we're AI driven as well. That will be a priority. To answer your second part of the question around lessons learned, for me, a huge lesson has been the pace at which this technology has evolved. So I've been in working in AI for the past 10 years or so. And, some of the stuff that we're seeing now was maybe an expectation, but not at this pace, So I think we need to build solutions, or a big lesson is we need to build solutions that are future-proof, and therefore also bet on models evolving in their capabilities and not constrain ourselves with the current performance of models, for instance. Likewise, a big lesson that we've learned is adoption will be absolutely critical, as in especially AI solutions or AI products that are contingent on a user or a human liking the product and adopting it is a huge factor, because it'll make or break your solution. Firstly, in terms of relevance, so you need to build solutions that are relevant for your users. But secondly, to realize the impact, they have to be adopted. So focusing on adoption is also a key learning.
All right. I think that's a very good view on the market situation. Just for the other figures, try to keep it in 1 minute. I'll start with Olivier, if you can quickly share the biggest lesson learned. And
well, I've shared. Thanks. Yeah, I've shared in the chat some lessons learned. I think that I agree with what Alvaro just said on the adoption rate. I'm more seeing the impact on the organization and on the new roles within the organizations. I say that we have created a new position such as conversational architect. We also have GenAI able to handle simple and basic questions, which mean that you have to reposition your human agent on more complex answered. So again, do we want to monetize this? How do we upskill? How do you want to upskill your people? So it's more about all the side effects of GenAI itself that you need to focus on. 1 minute.
Perfect. Thanks. Then Manuel, over to you.
So one of the biggest changes we're seeing, especially within the company itself, is the excitement from the employees themselves when it comes to they're already seeing what works, what efficiencies gains there are, and now they're basically asking us, okay, can you look at our workflow to see, all right, are there any parts where we can optimize it using either GenAI or more the traditional ML modeling? So what we envision, especially from the management perspective, is that each department has their own AI agent or swarm or crew or whatever that's basically tuned to their own specific needs for their goals. It also allows them to really strategically think about the challenges that they're currently facing. So from when it comes to technology, I fully agree with Alvaro that we're seeing really big leaps, and it's probably gonna be coming more soon until it plateaus at one time. But for me, especially the biggest change we're seeing is just from a culture perspective, the way people are allowed to interact with models, where in the past it was really difficult to explain, for example, a machine learning model. Now the user can actually talk with these models, and you really see the engagement from their side increasing, leading to really new opportunities.
All right, good. And then last but not least, Evelyn.
Because I'm known for speaking so fast. Yeah, so we have huge plans both for employee-facing Scout and external Scout. So internally, we want to enable our employees, our general managers with forecasting, or the legal department with conference negotiations and all sorts of things, as well as external scout is the one I'm very excited about, with just instead of just asking when is brunch, you can book your brunch, you can cancel your table, you can book your accommodation. So we're really excited to look into connecting to our fulfillment systems to not only give the information that, yes, you can book your Christmas dinner, instead would be like, can I help you book your Christmas dinner? So that is something that we're very much looking forward to in the future. So yeah.
All right. Thanks to all the panelists. I will say we have 1 or 2 more minutes for questions in case you have any. So if you do have any, either you can raise your hand or you can type it in the chat. We'll wait for a couple of seconds to see if there is any. Right. If there is none, then there is nothing left for me to do except thank the speakers again. So thank you, Manuel, Evelyn, Alvaro, Olivier. Thank you for everyone for attending. If you do have any questions, you can always reach out to us. We're happy to discuss this further and see what we can do to help you get further in your AI journey.